I got married at 23 years old. I didn't know what it meant to be a man at that time. I assumed because I had a good job in the military, I was in the Air Force, that I could support my wife. I could provide us with cars, everything we needed. So I was a good husband. I was a nice guy. Everything I did was to make her happy. She was the sole purpose of the relationship, I felt. And I could see why, now looking back, why that was not very attractive to her. I didn't have a strong male influence growing up, so no one taught me what it meant to be a man, how to have successful relationships. And I was listening to The Way of the Superior Man on my run this morning, and it just showed me how much I've grown now, that this is why my relationships are better, because I'm not making these mistakes. So I figured in this video, I would just go over a couple of chapters that I was listening to. The main part of the audiobook was part 4, What Women Really Want. So, hey puppy. So part 4 was what women really want. And I was making a lot of these mistakes. I was doing the exact opposite of what women want. So today's video, I will go over it. I'll link in the description a full version of the audiobook on YouTube. If you've never read this book, I would highly recommend it. It taught me a lot about what it means to be a man, what women do want, ways that you can improve. And it's just something that everybody should learn. I'd say so. So in this video, we'll go over that. The first chapter in this section is choose a woman that chooses you. Don't be chasing women that don't want to be with you. Man, if you're needy and you're trying to get her to like you, it's just always going to backfire. And for me, I think this reared its head probably 6 years into our marriage. I knew from the start that she did really like me. We hit it off right away. I mentioned red flags, but we both ignored them. But there was a time when she was texting with one of her high school friends, calling him sexy. And it was at this time that I knew she wasn't choosing to be with me anymore. She didn't really want to be with me. She wanted to, I guess, be with this guy, but more importantly, she was really only with me because she didn't have, I'm guessing, that many options to leave. We did work it out, but I felt, looking back at it now, it was probably that I was choosing her so much. She didn't necessarily want to be with me, but I mean, at the time, where's she gonna go? Geese. Where's she gonna go? So we worked it out. That was the first start of her not really choosing me taking her back and just accepting that. I have to imagine made her lose a lot of attraction for me. But then it happened again when we got divorced. She met her coworker. They were having their thing, and she was no longer choosing me. But I was still so needy. I needed her to be in my life because I didn't want to be alone. I didn't want to start over. And that neediness was not attractive to her. It pushed her away even farther, which is great now. I'm very happy that it did. But at the time, I didn't know any better. Like I was thinking, the more I show love, the more that she'll realize how special I am, how special our relationship is. But she had already moved on. She wasn't choosing me. So choose women that choose you. Don't waste your time trying to friend zone, or if she says she's not interested, there's probably not a lot you can do to make her interested. It's different if she's playing hard to get. Sometimes that's just playful and fun. So you have to know the difference, but don't be choosing women that aren't choosing you. The next chapter in this section was about women don't necessarily mean what they say. This is a result of, I know for me, my wife would test me to just see how strong of a man I was. Could she get me to do things that I know weren't right, or like the best case scenario? I didn't have any boundaries, so she could get me to do a lot of things and I would just accept it. Same with like the talking to her friends from high school and the coworker. Like I didn't have boundaries to just say, this is a line that I don't accept, and if you cross it, then I can't be in this relationship. I didn't have that kind of boundaries. And she would test me with, saying things that she didn't actually mean. She would say, don't go out with your friends, stay home with me. And then when I didn't do that, because I went out with my friends, they were deploying. It was their last night in town. And instead of going out with my friends and having a good time, she said, come stay with me, we'll have a good time. And then when I did do that, she was upset by it because she knew the right thing to do would be for me to go and hang out with my friends. It's their last night in town, she'll be around. We weren't gonna do anything anyways. So when she got me to do that, it just lost more attraction because I was doing things that I should have a boundary for. Like, I knew that was the right thing to do, to go find my friends, to do that. There's plenty of other cases where she's telling me one thing but means another, and it would frustrate me because I was a weak man. I didn't know that what she's saying was not actually what she meant, and I would get frustrated by that. So, yeah, that chapter is women will say things that they don't actually mean. You have to just have your boundaries, know what the right thing to do is, have your purpose, and stay focused. The next chapter was her complaint is content free. And this was a big one for me. In the book, the example that they use is a guy who wants to watch TV and says he'll clean the garage, and then doesn't clean the garage, and his wife gets upset about it, and she keeps bringing up the garage. And the issue isn't with her that she wants a clean garage. The issue is that he's saying he'll do things and then doesn't do them. Oh, and it's also showing that he's not in his consciousness. He's not trying to improve himself. And that's a woman wants to know that a man is not just doing things unconsciously, watching just TV. He's in his conscious. He's working towards himself. He's working towards goals. For me, I would play video games all the time. I would always say I would get to things, and then I wouldn't get to them because I was too busy and too distracted. And then she would get upset that the dishes weren't done or that I didn't mow the lawn like I said I would. And it's not so much that these things weren't done, it's that I wasn't doing things that I said I would do. She loses trust that way. And it's not about the activity just being done. Like, the lawn doesn't need to be mowed that day, that's fine. But if you're gonna say you're gonna do something, then you have to do it. You lose trust not doing the things you say you're gonna do. So, I mean, based off these first 3 chapters of part 4, I was already off to a bad start. I could see why my wife was not super happy in the relationship. I can see how I was failing her as a man. I was being very needy. I would do things that I was just trying to make her happy. So I would do things that I knew were probably not right for me or right towards my friends, and just overall just giving in to things that I knew were not beneficial. And then I would always say I would do things, and then I would never do it. I got a video game to play. I'm sorry. I can't go stop that for an hour to go clean the garage. Are you crazy? I got to play World of Warcraft for another 2 hours and get the same stupid shit. But yeah, so that's the first 3 chapters of this part, and I'm already off to a bad start. The next chapter was she doesn't want to be number 1. This one I never really even considered was a problem. I thought happy wife, happy life. Do whatever you can to make her happy. She would come home, have complaints about work, have complaints about people she's working with, her family, her friends. And I would always just try to be a problem solver for her. I was always trying to make sure she knew that I would be there for her. I would do everything it takes to be a good husband. And I never had my own purpose or drive. It was always, my whole focus was do whatever I can to make her happy. I didn't try really hard at work, so that wasn't my purpose. I didn't have any sort of ambitions, any sort of goals. So I would say my main focus was my wife. or video games maybe. So maybe she even took second to it. I don't know, but she wanted a man that knew what his purpose was. She can take a back seat. He can lead. She knows that he's got his purpose, and that's the most important thing to him. I never had that growing up. I do now, and I feel that the women in my life do appreciate that I do have drive, that I do have focus, and they don't want to be the sole purpose of my life. They're happy to go along for the ride, and yeah, so that was number 4. The 5th chapter in part 4 was, your excellent track record is meaningless to her. This took place a lot after the divorce. The example that they give in the book was that you could be a great husband for 10 years, but if you're an asshole for 30 seconds, now you're an asshole. Like, it doesn't matter how good you were in the past. Women are focused on the present. They don't care that for 12 years that I was a supportive husband, I was a nice guy, I was a good husband, I wasn't a bad person. I just wasn't a very good masculine husband. So of course she lost attraction for me. But that doesn't mean, so she doesn't remember all the good things that happened up until she found her new partner. It's what happened now. And at that moment, I was not the kind of man she needed. I was overweight, addicted to video games, not very emotionally controlled, couldn't take feedback. So I was a weak man. It doesn't matter if I was strong in the very beginning of our relationship. At that point in time, I was weak, and there was no convincing her otherwise. I would try to be like, well, don't you remember that we used to do this? Don't you remember that I got you out of Missouri and helped you get your first job, and I helped you graduate, and I did all this? It didn't matter. She had already moved on. She made her decision. There was nothing I could do to convince her otherwise. So I had to learn that the hard way. It's something that I'm very conscious of now. Women's emotions change just like that. So if you're not on your purpose, if you're not on your purpose, you could easily lose your focus because of a woman, and then, she changes her mind about something happens, and now you lose that relationship, and then what do? Your purpose is gone. So I can see how that was the issue. And then the last chapter was, she wants to relax in the demonstration of your direction. This I was just as bad at too. I didn't know how to lead. I would always ask, hey, what do you want to do for dinner? Where do you want to go for vacation? Where do you want to go this weekend? What would you like to do tonight? What do you want to watch? Everything was like, I can't figure shit out, you do it. And it just loses a lot of trust because it doesn't show that you know how to handle situations. It doesn't show that you know how to lead. These are all things, just based off these 6 chapters from part 4, what women really want, I was doing the exact opposite of it. I found now that since I've read this book, I've actually learned a lot on how to lead, how to set up dates, how to choose women that choose me, how to take women for not what they say, but what's the meaning behind it? Are they saying things that are true that I'm doing unconsciously? Like complaining about video games was not necessarily about the video games. If I had purpose and drive and was doing things, it's fine to relax with a video game. But I was just unconsciously playing video games, avoiding any real way to improve. So I think after I've read this book, damn, there's noise everywhere today. After I read this book, it really opened my eyes on how I can improve. It's really helped me on my dates, my dating life, just my relationships in general. I feel more masculine and strong after knowing this stuff. I'm not chasing girls that don't want me in the first place. There's plenty of good girls out there that do want to be with me, that do want to interact with me. So I'm not going to choose somebody that doesn't want to be with me. Yeah, I think that's it for this video. I'm going to go home now, edit, It's super nice out still, so maybe I'll keep walking. Like and subscribe. I got my Instagram down there. Follow me on Instagram. Yeah, today's video we'll work on. It was super nice out, so I went out to the sun. And yeah, now I gotta pass these people. All right, I think that's it for this video. I might not have done the best job explaining these chapters. I read it again this morning. I understand the concepts of it, but I probably didn't do the best job explaining it. So watch the audiobook in the description. I highly recommend it. If you're looking to be more masculine, or just even some, I don't know, just some tips on what it takes to build better relationships. It's just an amazing book. I talked about it yesterday. It talks about how, even for your friends, don't be mediocre for your friends. They don't want a mediocre man. And I read that 2 weeks ago, and ever since it's been even more important to keep on my grind. So read that, or listen to the audio, follow me on Instagram, like and subscribe. I'm gonna go home and make a protein shake, I guess. Get some water. It's super hot out here. It's not super hot, but it's nice out. And I'm thirsty. Yeah, we're gonna end it there. See you tomorrow.